stress cycle, and that demonstrates how stress works, but more importantly, what creates accumulated stress in us as people. And first of all, I'll use animals as an example. So imagine if we had an antelope and it's in stage 1 normal. It experiences a stressor, which in this case would be the smell of a predator. And that creates immediately what's called a stress response. And that happens in 2 seconds. And a whole raft of chemical and physiological changes take place. For instance, blood is redirected from the stomach and the extremities of the body to the brain and the large muscle groups. There's more adrenaline and cortisol pumped into the system. Attention and focus becomes very narrow. Sweating increases. All sorts of changes take place. And this is getting a person ready for what's called the fight or flight response. Now, what happens is that with an animal, it's very simple. They either run or they fight. And in doing so, they use up all of these physiological changes in their body. Now, when all that's over, say an antelope runs away, it then enters another phase, the relaxation response, and that's where it's going to rest, and this takes 30 minutes. Now, you've probably all seen, a dog chasing a car, or having a little ruckus with another dog next door, and afterwards they'll lay down and take it easy. So animals do this naturally and instinctively. So in that 30 minutes, another system's triggered, and that cleans up the physiological mess, rebalances everything, and then when that's all over, the animal goes off, going about its business. Now, it returns then to normal. What happens with us as people is because of our intelligence, because of our beliefs, conditioning, norms and roles in society, this acts as a block in this stress cycle. So, person starts off in normal. Now, when it comes to stressors with people, our stresses can be real, like say having a near miss in your car, or they can be perceived. For instance, getting a dirty look from your boss, or worrying about the economy, or maybe, layoffs at work, or worrying about your children. Now, these aren't physical dangers, but to a human being, they can become a stressor. And they will trigger this stress response exactly the same as if it was a real danger. And that happens, remember, in 2 seconds. So all those physiological changes take place. And because the blood's rediverted, you can feel slightly nauseous. You can also feel dizzy. You can get clammy palms. You get muscle tension. You can feel over-aroused and revved up from all the adrenaline pumping through your system. Your heart's racing, your blood pressure goes up. Now what happens is that, again, because of the fact that we are human beings and we have all these other conditions placed upon us, that acts as a block in the system. So, you can't just run physically or fight physically, you just have to do nothing often. Now, that in turn acts as a stressor, which just feeds back into the stress response, and you're blocked because you can't do anything about it, and around it goes. And what that does is it literally builds up accumulated stress, and then it's happening so often that your body starts to change all of its little set points. So you've got just a little bit of extra adrenaline in your system, a little bit of extra cortisol, you've got a bit of extra muscle tension, your blood is being diverted more often to the large muscle groups and away from your stomach, so you might end up with digestive problems. And then your sleep starts getting more erratic. And all of this is because of the accumulated stress, that we're not actually accessing the stress response, which takes 30 minutes to clean up what can happen in 2 seconds. And so this is what causes all the problems. Not stress per se, because stress is a natural motivating force, it's exciting, It's the accumulated stress. And this is why we need highly effective and efficient relaxation.